This week we collected some data from our curved mirror lab and we learned to use a spreadsheet to manage that data more automatically. So this video is going to review how we did that in case you need to check for a future spreadsheet. I'm going to go into my Google Drive and select New. Here I want Google Sheets. I'm going to give this a name so I can remember what it is. So we're going to title this Mirror Data. We had 3 columns on the back of our lab sheet. The first was the object distance, DO. The second one was the image distance, DI. And the third one was our computed focal length. So if you look at your sheet, you'll see the first data point is at 25 centimeters for the object distance. That's the distance from the light bulb to the mirror. Now we could go through here and type 30 and 35 and 40, but you may remember there's a better way to do this. Instead, we're going to type equals, click on the cell above here, which is A2, and then add 5, hit enter, and that automatically fills the value. Now I bring my mouse over to the lower right corner here with the blue square until I have the plus sign, then I click and drag, and that fills in all of my data equally spaced with plus 5s from 25 to 85. Our first image distance, suppose it was 155 centimeters, we can fill that in. Now on your calculator, you were calculating this separately every time, but we're going to use spreadsheet magic to do it here just once. I'm typing equals, clicking on A2 to get my object distance. Shift 8 gets me a star, which is multiplication, times B2, my image distance, so we have DO times DI. Now we're dividing, and we want to make sure we include the entire denominator in our division. So we have a parenthesis. Now we have A2 plus B2. I close the parenthesis and hit enter, and there I have my computed focal length. Here is the real-time savings. I do the same trick. I move my mouse down to the lower right till I get the plus sign. I click and drag, and you see only zeros because we haven't filled in the data yet. Let's fill in our next data point. I'm looking at my lab sheet here, and I see 70, and it computes a focal length of 21. My next data point was 55 centimeters. My next data point was 43 centimeters, 39 centimeters, at 75, 29. Notice these aren't changing so much now. When the object was at 80 centimeters, 28, and at 85, 27. So looking at this data, we notice it's all between 20 and 21. It looks like, oh, here's 119. That's a little bit lower. But if we don't want to have to read the data, we can visualize it, which is usually better. I can select this entire column, column C, by clicking on the C at the top. You can check that with any column. You can select the whole column. There is the whole column. Now I'm going to come over here to Insert Chart, or if you prefer, you can remember, come to Insert and Chart down here. Another way to get the same tool. And the tool we'd like to use is Histogram, which Google is suggesting here. The second suggestion, there it is. We're going to insert the histogram. I'll bring it to the right so we can still see our data. And remember, this is showing how many data points account on the left column here, and what the value is on the bottom column. So if I wonder how many times did I measure a focal length between 20.65 and 21, I count the height of this column here, and I see it's a little more than 4.5, but I know I only have integer count, so this was 5 data points in this column. Here, 3 data points were between 20.3 and 20.65. So there's our histogram. That shows pretty definitively that we have a focal length somewhere between 20 and, I'd say, 20 and a half. We have peaked data here. So that is how to make a histogram and how to automatically fill in data.